Um, I wanted to share a passage in the Bible that talks about how the salvation has come to the covenantal unit of the entire family. So, in other words, this wasn't simply a individualized conversion, but because this one man who is the head of the household believed, was converted into the gospel of Jesus Christ, not only he, but the entire family were able to hear the gospel with him. And that evening, the whole family became set apart as the covenant family, the people that are under a very special protection and a special program and design by God. And I am assuming that this family unit is not only the adults, but it also includes young people, maybe even children, maybe infants. Because in the old days, household didn't mean a nuclear household, a family, but it meant the extended family. So there were grandparents, parents, children, and their children. So generations after generation, they were all together. And because of this great conversion in the jail in Philippi, the entire family were brought under the blessing of baptism. I want you to know that confirmation is not something that stands alone. This is not simply admitting you into membership. This is actually admission into membership through a very special process that follows what has happened to you when you were infants. When you were very young, your mom and dad, both or at least one of them, stood in front of all these people and said, I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. And as they were baptized, they knew that it wasn't just them, but the responsibility now is to bring their children into the covenant blessing. Covenant means a promised relationship that's pledged with life. It's something that God offers to his people. And covenant is not individual. Covenant is always with a group. It's a community. So it's the family, the entire family that has come under the covenant blessing of God. And you were baptized as infants, and obviously you are not aware of what's going on. You may have been aware of what's going on, but it did not include necessarily a cognition of your own salvation through Jesus Christ. But the pastor baptized you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and as you were baptized, at that moment you were sealed with a covenant promise. But it's a promise. It's not something that's complete yet. That promise is fulfilled when you come of the age, just as you are, when you are now able to say, I acknowledge my baptism when I was a child. And now I'm going to say that I'm going to make that baptism complete by making my own confession of faith. So that baptism, that does not have to be done again. You don't repeat baptism. That's as significant as it is. It's a seal. You don't repeat it. But that becomes now properly mine because the whole package has now been complete. And that's what we're doing tonight. And I just want you to know how it is evidenced even in this passage that when the whole family was baptized, we are assuming that children were baptized, kids were baptized, babies were baptized. And as they grew up in faith, it was required that one day they will stand before the church and say, this is what I believe, and I'm going to lay down my life in following Jesus Christ. And this is the early church. And it continues on to this day, and that's what we're doing, You're doing a wonderful thing by closing a chapter that's very important. You're coming to a full circle, and you're saying, okay, I'm ready for this. May the Lord bless you, every word you say, and may it bless our entire congregation. 제가 입교의 의미에 대해서 말씀을 드렸는데요. 우리 자녀들이 충분히 이해하고 오늘 자신들의 신앙 고백을 통해서 어린 시절에 받았던 세례가 이제는 거기서 멈춘 것이 아니라 그때 하나의 약속이었다면 이제는 그 약속의 성취로 바로 이 자리에서 스스로 자기 입으로 신앙을 고백함으로 그것이 완성되어 이제 세례의 의미가 완전하게 이렇게 하나의 원을 만들어주는 복된 시간이 되는 것이죠. 오늘 본문에 본 것처럼 한 사람만 구원을 받은 것이 아니라 그 사람의 구원이 온 가족에 영향을 미치고 모든 가족이 세례를 받았다라는 말 속에 그 당시의 가족의 스트럭처를 생각해 볼 때 어린아이들 또 어린 아기들도 함께 세례를 받았다면 오늘 우리가 행하는 것과 같이 2000년 기독교 전통 속에 오늘까지 이행되어 오는 유아세례와 그 이후에 그 유아세례가 끝나는 것이 아니라 그것은 약속이고 그것은 씨일이고 이제 그것이 완성되는 신앙의 고백으로 이어진다는 말씀을 여러분께 확인해 드리고 싶습니다. 오늘 밤에 바로 그런 은혜가 넘치는 줄로 믿습니다.